Greetings and welcome to the first Afterbirth Plus daily run, and we're playing as Lazarus. I wouldn't have picked Lazarus as my first character for a DLC, but it's probably random, so what can we do? Obviously the rule is, if I see anything new, I'll try to pick it up, even if it's suboptimal, just to see what it does. I'll also be picking up every old item, in hopes maybe that some of them have changed, and seeing maybe if there are any differences there. We're playing as Lazarus, and the first thing I've noticed is that when you die as Lazarus, you actually leave the blood trail basically passively, so you don't have to get hit in order to actually leave the trail. And now the Lazarus one also starts with that item, which is an interesting change, makes him just a bit more powerful, maybe just a bit more unique, but still not anything to write home about. We'll see our first enemy here, which is like this black portal, which I'm not really sure what it does, at least on a technical level, but what it seems to do is that it spawns enemies of the same floor. I think it spawns random enemies, but from what I can tell, that certain rooms spawn a first enemy set, so that means that the first enemy is set, which means that maybe it will always be a mulli-boom, and then the next enemies are random, but I'm not really sure how it works. We see quite a few of them throughout this run, and maybe we can figure out how they work, but from what I can see, they basically just spawn random enemies. So we had the Algis Rune. Algis Rune was obviously great because we can use it in many different situations. It gives us a shield, but we see a Black Rune, which is very mysterious. It has the title Void beneath it, so we're not really sure what it does, but my guess at this point was maybe it just opens a Void portal and deals damage to enemies, akin maybe to something like the Death card, but maybe a bit more potent, or maybe with a different effect. And obviously I have to try the first room I see it, and what it seems to do is whenever you use it, you basically send every consumable to the Void. And that's very in respect with the design philosophy of other runes. Basically, they are useless in a lot of situations, but if you can manage to get a lot of consumables on the ground, maybe a lot of pennies, you can use that black rune to actually generate a bunch of spiders and flies to fight for you. But that's basically how every rune works, you know. They can be quite useless in a lot of situations, but if you get them in the right situation, you can actually abuse them and get a really powerful effect out of them. I also managed to, not managed, but I decided to pick up Cursed Eye in hopes that maybe it would change, and from what I could tell, it did change. I think it's a very subtle change, but from what I can tell, maybe that's just because I don't use Cursed Eye enough, but if you charge the eye for a long duration, you actually only shoot 2 shots, but if you charge it for like the medium duration, so let's say that the maximum duration is 5 seconds and then the minimum duration is 1 second. If you charge it for 5 seconds, you're gonna only shoot 2 shots. If you charge it for less than 1 second, you're also going to shoot only 2 shots. But if you charge it somewhere in between, then it's actually gonna be 4 shots, which means that this item has gotten quite an improvement, at least in the sense of DPS, because now you can actually output 4 tiers in a very short amount of time. And I think before it worked differently, but like I said, I'm not really sure because I haven't really ever picked up this item, because why would I? It was terrible. We managed to find a new trinket. I'm not really sure how it works, so maybe let's list the guesstimates for later. We can see the first new enemy here, which is like these stone guys. First I thought maybe that I can damage them with bombs, but when I tried to do that, it didn't really work. And then my second guess was that maybe I need to kill the rest of the enemies in the room, and then maybe they die. And from what I can see, the black portals actually have a limited amount of how many enemies can spawn as well, which means that maybe not a limited amount, but maybe when they spawn a certain amount of enemies, they just slow down so you don't get overwhelmed too fast. And I think that's a very reasonable design decision, just because obviously you can't fight a million enemies in one floor when you're this weak into the run. But obviously this run so far wasn't very strong. We got, I think, 1 damage up, and obviously when we respawn we also get a very small damage up. And obviously we have Cursed Eye as well, which isn't really helping our case here for trying to survive. But yeah, we did manage to get a new trinket, which is a light bulb, and I think the title of the item was "It needs to be charged to be useful" or something like that, which I'm not really sure what it means. Maybe we need to pick up a certain amount of battery charges in order to actually get it useful. Maybe we need a battery out of the shop, maybe a battery item of some sort to make it work, but from what I could tell, it didn't really make any difference. Maybe it gives us more passive battery drops, but I also haven't noticed an increase in those. But obviously I have only beaten a few rooms up until this point, so I can't say for certain. But I think at this point is when we actually stop encountering new enemies, but that's also because we're reaching the mount floor, and obviously I was really hoping to see if boss rush has changed, but sadly, because this run was a bit on the weak side, and because we do have Cursed Eye, things got out of hand quite fast, and I managed to die a bit too early, but still, I did manage to see some new things, and I'm really excited. The fact that there are so many new little things up until this point have kind of gotten me excited to play again, but obviously there's only one daily run per day, and maybe I'll do a few normal runs. I'm not really sure if you want to see me play normal runs. I plan on starting a fresh save file. Maybe you want to see just highlights of new things, or maybe you want to see like a strategy guide on how to complete the game optimally, in the sense if you want to unlock everything as fast as possible. I could try to do something akin to that, or maybe if you just want more Isaac content, Afterbirth Plus content, I can also try live commentating and just uploading regular runs on YouTube. I think that could be fun, but obviously if there's only demand for it, of course, then again I have to do it, so it's kind of my decision. But still, if you want to see anything with Afterbirth Plus and you have any ideas, please tell me. I'm open to ideas, and I'll consider what we can do. So up until this point, like I said, the last 2 minutes didn't really contain anything new, and any items we got just weren't that great. But thankfully we're coming up another change here, and not really a change, but more like a new room. 2 monsters in one room on the mount floor. I was really surprised when I saw that. Obviously out here I was trying to get to boss rush, and we were quite in a hurry. Thankfully, we did have 1 battery charger behind, which means I could use the pinging shifts in this room to deal a lot of damage to these 2 monsters. It didn't really, it worked out, but surprisingly, the next room also contained 2 monsters. But this is a room that we've seen before. I think it's a bit more on the rare side, so it doesn't come up often. But still, the fact that we get 4 monsters in 2 rooms on the mount floor was kind of surprising to me. Not really, I guess, out of the ordinary as well, but still, it was just enough to kind of slow me down to miss boss rush, which was kind of unfortunate. Thankfully, we did manage to find a secret room, a second secret room as well, which helped us at least in our health department. And one new thing here was that we got a half spirit heart, which isn't anything new in the sense that I think it was leaked before, so I knew this was coming, but it's just half a spirit heart, basically. It didn't really make sense why that wasn't in the game before, and now that it is, I think it makes spirit hearts a bit less strong, in the sense that you can also get a half a spirit heart, which is obviously half as much as 1 full spirit heart. And I wonder how this spawn rates affect us, and how it actually changes the dynamic of the game, if this game will still be kind of spirit heart prevalent or not. But like I said, we need to play just a bunch more runs to see where it goes. So sadly here the mom stomps me just because I didn't see the shadow, I guess. I think I was so excited by the fact that I was playing Afterbirth Plus after so long, that I was just really focusing on the Qs. Obviously there wasn't a lot of health just in the whole run, not a lot of spirit hearts, red health or red pickups, but we did manage to rank 2nd, which is an impressive score. I think that just to the fact that like 100 people have played this daily, and I did manage to kind of get far enough, I guess, as akin to the average player. Obviously this score is not a representative, and I think in the first month the daily leaderboards will be just over the place, so take these scores as with a grain of salt. Just see the run for what it is, maybe we'll see some crazy combinations, and at this time this is the time to explore, obviously, and I hope I can share my journey with you and see what we can actually see in the Afterbirth Plus dailies. And I'm really excited to see if there are also any differences to the scoring system itself, so maybe the maximum amount of Shrek bonus or not, but like I said, we will need to play a lot of dailies to see how things go. I hope you enjoyed this one. Obviously it wasn't very long and very short, but maybe this is just a tease for what is about to come, and I hope the next daily will be a lot more interesting, at least in that sense. I'll also be uploading it a bit early, and I think that'll be the norm for the next few dailies, or at least until the water settle down, so be expecting it earlier than usual. That's all I'm gonna say. So thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.